Hello, everybody. Hi, Shanta. So thank you all for joining us. Let me just start by thanking our sponsors, our global sponsors, Cloudways, Elementor, GoDaddy Pro, Green Geeks, Nexus and Stratic, our multilingual partner Weglot, and our live captioning sponsors GiveWP and Paid Memberships Pro. I hope you've had a chance to visit them in the community tent, and there'll be a longer break after the session, so you'll be able to do that. And don't forget to get your photo snapped in the photo booth, brought to us by Content Journey and Stratic. And lastly, do check out the swag bag for deals and gifts from our sponsors. And last but not the least, thank you to our media partners and our micro sponsors.
So in our next session, please welcome Rahul Sarkar next. Rahul is a WordPress developer and digital marketing consultant based out of Kolkata, India. He has been working with WordPress for the past 8 years. Currently, he's handling 3 startups and working with a few communities very closely. Apart from that, he's a big foodie and a self-proclaimed proud solo traveler. Rahul will be talking about 7 key inbound marketing strategies for personal branding. Enjoy the session.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
Here at Green Geeks, WordPress works awesome. We offer a one-click installer with automatic updates, tons of developer tools like WP Staging, WP CLI, and Git, free WordPress migration, and access to award-winning expert support 24/7, 365. Plus, WordPress sites hosted on our platform are lightning fast. Most importantly, Green Geeks is the most eco-friendly WordPress web hosting company on the planet.
put it simply, plugins power WordPress. But when a plugin fails, so does your site. With fully managed WordPress hosting from Nexus, you get carefully curated plugins that will save you from having to search the plugin database to find the right tools. and you'll never have to worry about managing or updating plugins again. Start building a site that loads ultra fast with instant auto scaling, visual comparisons, plus automatic plugin updates and platform updates. With fully managed WordPress from Nexus, better is built in.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And today I will talk about inbound marketing strategies for your personal brand. So let's get started. So what are the agendas that we have for today? First, what is inbound marketing? Then we will understand why personal branding is important. We will also cover some of the strategies that would really help you to grow your inbound. Thirdly, we will also talk about certain inbound marketing strategies that will help you to improve your personal branding. And also I will share the workflow that I use to help my clients with their personal branding. Let's move on. So that's about me. I have 8 years of experience working as a digital marketer and a business consultant. I worked with a lot of small, medium businesses, and I also have some of this, celebrity clients for whom I maintain their personal branding and everything in between for them. So let's move on. So let's understand what exactly is inbound marketing. And so before I start, I just want to highlight one thing, that marketing can be categorized into two, different domain or two different category. One is inbound marketing that we will be covering today. Another one is outbound marketing. So the major difference between both of them are in inbound marketing, the client or the customer, the audience, they reach out to us. And in outbound marketing, we reach out to them. A classic example is, like, for example, the phone calls. Like if we receive a phone call, we call it inbound calls. And when we, call someone, we call it outbound call. So a good example of marketing can be, for example, I am running an advertisement on Google or Facebook. What am I doing? I am reaching to the audience. I'm, finding out or targeting demographic who might buy our product. Whereas another way it can be like, another process can be, I wrote an article on my website. Someone found that useful and they thought that, okay, Rahul wrote a very good article. Let me reach out to him and maybe, seek for a consultation. So that's, and that can be an example of inbound marketing where the client reached to us. And if you want to know a standard definition, you can always look on the screen. I have also mentioned a standard definition for inbound marketing. So you can have a read through the slide as well. Oops. Okay. So some of the example of, some of the content example that can be categorized as a part of inbound marketing. It can be blogging, then article, writing post, then video content, like you're making video. You can also, a good idea is repurposing the article that you wrote. For example, you wrote an article. What you can do is you can convert that particular article into a small video and maybe publish it on YouTube, then Instagram and other video places. And also, why not in between the blog? Because it will help increasing the duration a person or a visitor spend on your website, and that's a very good parameter to include. That's a very good parameter to have, because the more the times a user spend on your website, Google or the search engine thinks that, all right, so whatever the person was looking for, maybe he or she found that on this particular website. So having a video or maybe sometimes even audio is helpful, because the user will end up spending more time. Also, the same post can be converted into infographics as well, because if you look, a lot of people or even other blogs, they use infographics from other places, or they give reference to those infographics. So as a result, we might get some backlinks as well. And it's a good way. Like if you go to any good bloggers, what they do is they format the article in such a way, so whether you want to read through the article, you have everything written in a very user-friendly manner. It should be easy for you to read. They also make a video out of it. So just in case you don't want to go through hundreds of words, what you can do, you can just watch the video. That's cool. Even sometimes people actually convert that into audio. So if nothing works, you don't have time, you just want to maybe listen to it and do whatever you want, that's again can be an option. So my suggestion would be always try to repurpose a content. If you're writing a good article, you have a text content, convert that into a video. So you have something for the video platforms. You can also convert that into an audio, so you can share it somewhere if you want. In the third point, we have webinar and podcast. This is again a fantastic way of creating new content. And on the 4 and 5 point is social media and SEO. This is very basic. I'm not gonna talk much about it. And last but not the least, if you have an option of creating an ebook, then it is fantastic, because ebook always works great as a gated content. Oh, do you know what is gated content? Okay, let me tell you. So whenever you go to whenever you go to a website, you might have noticed that sometime they put across some ebooks, or maybe sometime some cheat sheet, or even sometime they provide some for example, in WordPress ecosystem, you'll find a lot of a case that people say, hey, you want particular template, then put down your email address and you will get the template in your email address. So what are they doing? They are collecting your information, and in exchange they are giving you some value. So gated content, again, a very good strategy. So if you want to have if you want to increase your email subscription, you can always try a gated content strategy. That again works great. So now, as our topic revolves around personal branding, but before we go or dig deep inside with the strategies and all, let's just spend a minute and discuss why it is so important. So if you look into the screen, I have 3 billionaires: Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C. So pretty sure you guys know who is Mr. A and C, but do you know who is Mr. B? All right, you have 5 seconds. Write down on the chat who is Mr. B. Okay, any guess? All right, let me reveal the name. All right, now you know who is Mr. B. So what exactly went wrong, or what exactly happened? Why aren't we able to recognize all the 3 billionaires? All of them are successful, all of them have a lot of money, but why can't we recognize them? One key reason is their personal branding. Elon Musk, everyone knows him because of all the crazy thing he does. Like he knows how to dream big, and probably he can work hard to fulfill that, and he is doing that. Bill Gates, he's a pioneer, and everybody knows about him. But what about the gentleman in between both of them? He is one of the I think president or co-founder for Louis Vuitton, the fashion brand. He's a billionaire, but probably not a lot of people knows about him. So now you know why personal brand is important, right? Anyways, that's not very important. So let's move on. That's something joke or something. Let's move to generate good good results and have an awesome case studies to showcase. Then you will have that authority, the confidence in your voice, and also in your work, the way you behave, your body language, everywhere those confidence and authority will reflect. So if you're good at something, then definitely it will be highlighted on your voice, and also definitely on the work, the results, and everywhere. Then another important thing is visibility. Now, if you're good at something, people knows that he's a good guy, he is best in his trade, people will talk about you, and they might invite you for an interview. They might maybe make a video about you. They might ask you to talk in their conference. So they would give you exposure. They will invite you so that you can share your knowledge. And one key thing that you will learn over this journey is the leadership skill. You will see that over the time you will be able to sharpen up your knowledge, and also you will be able to lead a generation of people who might be inspired based on your case studies, or the way you talk, or the way you represent, the way you do your work, and the knowledge that you are sharing. So definitely, it's a great opportunity and gift that you might get. I am losing word. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, so last but not the least, growth and opportunity. So when people knows about you, when people know that you're a great person to work with, they love you, they love your work, they love your personality, everything is fantastic. What's gonna happen? They would approach you to work for them, or they would hire you, or maybe they might you might they might invite you to collab together, maybe build something great together. So growth and opportunity, again, it will come to your door knocking, say, hey buddy, let's work together, or something of that sort. So definitely, it's high time that we focus on branding, because these are the benefits that we have always talked about, how we can implement inbound marketing to grow our personal branding. Let's dig deep inside and see what are the things. All right, so some of the 7 strategies that we will be discussing are, these are the things, you can go through it. So we will discuss more details in coming slide. Again, let's move on. So number 1, understanding, focus, and repurpose. So what we mean by understanding? Because why I mentioned understanding, the main reason is, a lot of time we do marketing, a lot of people they don't try to do enough research or to finalize who are the target audience and why are we targeting them. And also that level of understanding of the audience is very important, because if I target a wrong group of people, then the whole energy, time, money, effort that we have invested will not come up with a good result, because we were moving in the wrong direction. So understanding the audience, finalizing it, making sure that we are targeting the right audience, it's very important. Everyone talks about it, but in many a case it's been many a case people don't take it very seriously. So that's number 1. Make sure you know who is your target audience, and what are their demography and how to target them. Then focusing on niche is very important. What happened is, oh, I'm a WordPress developer, I'm a digital marketer, I'm a business I'm a business consultant, I'm a cloud expert, I'm so many things. But it is like jack of all trade, but master of none. So if we are dealing with personal branding, then the particular niche should be defined. We should know what is our specialization, or I would say we should set it like this. Okay, let me fix this topic as something that I enjoy, and let me make it as a specialization, and let me work on it. And as you start working on it, you put out time, you keep working on it, harding, the plain simple thing is, you need to invest time, you need to work on it, you need to learn. You will fail, but again, you need to keep on learning it. So for me, I enjoy sales and I enjoy marketing. I love to talk with people. So my niche is digital marketing, which is revolving around personal branding and lead generation and everything relating to sales. So like that, you can also select your particular niche and start focusing on that, and make sure that you are good at that. So you don't need to be good developer. It's better to be better to be good in one topic rather than average in 5 topics, because nobody remembers the average guy. And lastly, I want to put across that we put so much time in writing, designing, and content. I would in the workflow, before I conclude, I will show like what are the steps that I follow to write a content or to design an article. So you will get to know how much time and effort goes in writing an article. So the idea is, again, I discussed before, always repurpose your content. Content, it should be used multiple times. A lot of cases, what we see is, we write a new article, it gets published, people share it on social media, and then we forget. Why don't we reshare it after a couple of days? There are softwares that can do that. You don't need to even remember that, hey, maybe every week I need to go ahead and share this particular article. You can just put it on automation and it happens automatically. So we can't give you that excuse. We can't give that excuse that, hey, I forgot. That's not an excuse. We can just put it on some software and automate that. So always repurpose the article. Always it's not like another thing that I see is maybe someone wrote an article a years back and they don't edit that, and it remains as an old article. From time to time, you should go ahead and edit the articles, because information gets changed. So today, whatever was relevant 1 year back, today it might be not very relevant. So there might be some new changes that happen. So you can go ahead and update that article rather than writing a completely new one. So let's move on to the next slide. Be a painkiller. So what do you mean by that? Now we write article, we design strategies, we do so many things in marketing, but have we ever thought why someone is going to read my article, why someone is going to watch my video? What are they going to get out of it? So many times we hear the statement that what's in it for me. So the same thing we should keep in mind while designing a strategy, that the audience might ask themselves that what's in it for me. So two things that needs to be defined before we plan a content marketing, or before we write an article, before we plan a video, or before we do any marketing strategy. First, why the audience is going to listen to me, why the audience is going to read my blog, why? That needs to be answered. What's in it for them? And also we need to be very clear in informing that what value proposition we are offering. So if someone goes through my article, or if someone is watching my video, what's in it for them, what value they are getting? So those things needs to be very, very well defined. So again, in both the points might sound similar, but again, there is a difference. So one is you understand the problem, and second, you provide a solution, and third, you need to inform the audience that, all right, so this is the problem, this is a solution, and also don't forget to share if this solution worked or not. So that would complete the journey. And on the other end, what will happen is it will create some kind of engagement. When you ask your audience that, all right, let me know if it works or not, then maybe some of them will end up writing a comment that, hey, it worked. Or maybe if it doesn't work, then someone will write, hey, it didn't work. Then you can continue the conversation down there, and that creates a healthy a communication or a conversation. So few things to keep in mind. Who is my audience? Why are they going to read my article, or why they are going to watch my video or consume my content? That needs to be defined. And if I'm talking with a problem solution thing, why do you need a better server? It can be because that's a problem, right? Because better server, because so there can be situations like someone talks about why my WordPress website is slow. So there can be numerous reasons. So the problem is why the website is slow, and the solution is you can write okay, do this thing, then your website will eventually be faster, it will load more easily, that it will be optimized, and end result, you get a faster website. So if you are targeting a problem, make sure you provide enough solution and that is actionable. That is something a user can do it themselves, or if you want to refer something, make sure you put the reference link, and at the end, don't forget to ask them if your solution worked or not. Let's move on. Okay, the art of storytelling. Now, we are human being, and funny enough, we love to hear what's going on in someone else's life. That might sound a bit different, but that's truth. We are very curious. So how is that even relevant? Like, the thing is, when when we hear stories, for example, I started my career in a call center, and I remember doing a deep conversation with one of my fellow community member, and I was sharing my story. During that phase, he's also mentioned that he also started, getting comfortable, and he also shared his story. And later we came to know that yes, we both started our career from a call center, and we diverted our career. He's into development and marketing. He's into development. I'm into marketing. And we got to know another person who is like a graphic designer. So that's a funny story. But again, the matter of the fact is, when you share your personal story, people connect. People, they think, okay, so Rahul also started from here. Okay, Rahul also do this, Rahul also do that. So that means, oh, this is a similarity between me and him. So that's how, we connect. Like, we tends to be very comfortable with people who are similar to us. So, we should time to time, start sharing our story. If you have a failed venture, or if you have failed someone, don't be ashamed. Start talking about it. Everybody, fails, or everybody failed, maybe at least once. And, there is no shame in sharing that. And story really helps you to connect with other people. And the more you share, the more you open up, people will start, as people will start connecting with your story and feel that, okay, so this person is so similar like me. I also suffered this problem. This person also suffered a problem. So, we might, so there is some kind of bonding that happens actually. So as a result, what happens is, there is a trust that gets involved. There is a kind of friendship that gets involved. And trust and friendship is something that is very important. Like, if I trust someone, I can take an advice from him, or maybe I would love to do business with him, or maybe I would love to hire someone whom I trust, and I know the person knows the work that I'm or have enough skill sets, or know, for example, I need to hire a developer, and I know a friend, or I know a person whom I can trust, and he's a good developer. Definitely, I would love to hire him, or maybe in fact I would love to collaborate with him, because we have the trust factor in between. A good example is, in YouTube and other social content, we see a lot of content creators. They started, sharing their daily life, like what they do, like what are their daily, hustles, or what are their, pain points. Everything they share on a video. And if you notice, if you go into the analytics, or the basic analytics that you can see from outside, you will realize that, a subject matter related video and a video that is in a blog format, when the user is sharing his day-to-day life, the view and the engagement that they get in the vlog is always higher. Although there might not be some, valuable content. But like I mentioned before, we as a human being are very curious to know what's going on to someone else's life. It might sound strange, but that's a fact. So in a marketing strategy, maybe you can also share some stories about yourself, and maybe you can also share some incidents, and that would really help you to connect with people. If you have some failure, don't be ashamed. Like, you don't need to be shameful about that. Just share it. Everybody have some failed stories as well. So if you have some good case studies where you have put across quite a good amount of work, and the result was good, or whatever the result is, feel free to share it. There is no harm in sharing. So again, just to conclude, storytelling is very important. If you want to connect with your audience, make sure you are sharing your story correctly. So in the fifth point, we have content marketing. So again, these are the very basic things. I'm not going to dig deeper inside. So first, our website, we need to make sure the website has certain aspects, like the call to action is properly optimized, is properly mentioned. We provide all the relevant information that are required for a user to take a decision. Service and everything needs to be properly mentioned. There should be properly, the website should be properly optimized. A good way to get a good user experience is to make sure that the load time of the website should be less than 4 seconds, and also the user experience needs to be very seamless. Adding a lot of content, a lot of photographs, not necessarily would make your website beautiful or more more user friendly. So sometime being very specific, being to the point is good. And also there are certain parameters, certain aspect that needs to be kept in mind, so that our website actually converts a visitor into a paying customer. So again, focus on a website that is very user friendly and that have been optimized properly. Then obviously blogging, article posts, that's a major thing that needs to be incorporated in content marketing. Without that, it's not completed. You can't think about content marketing without article post. As the name suggests, content and content marketing. So you need to have all those things. SEO again, social media again, it's a must. No discussion on that. You need to make sure that you are following all the best practices for when it comes to SEO. If you want to learn SEO, then there are a lot of resources online. I personally like the resources that are available on Yoast. You can also check it out. They're great. And social media again, you can't afford to leave social media. It is a must, and you need to focus on that as well. Webinars, from time to time, it's what I personally advise is that every business, every person who is into personal branding or business, they should do webinars in their particular niche, because you get the opportunity to share your knowledge. And what I personally practice is I try to do two kind of webinars. One is free and one is paid. So free webinars are mainly to collect a lot of information or a lot of audience data, and then we segregate, and probably next time we invite the people who find it useful into a paying one. So again, it's up to the concerned person who is doing it. But webinar is again a very, very important part of content marketing. Then comes video marketing. I love to watch videos, so we need to make sure that video marketing is a part of our marketing strategies. A good example or a good advice is that whatever you're doing in the blog, like whatever you're doing here, you can convert that into a video and put it across on YouTube and other places. You can also have it on the website itself. So if the visitor don't want to read the text, they can just watch the video. Email marketing, it's one of the oldest form of marketing. But again, if you have a good email list, you can always send them articles, you can always send them newsletters, you can always send them offers, you can invite them to your webinar, you can send them all kind of things that you want to share with them. And on an average, you get 30 to 40% of opening rate minimum if you have a good content and if you have the right well-targeted set of audience. Ebook, if possible. Again, my advice is, if you have the time and resources to write or to make a ebook, please do it. And you can also use it as a gated content, and it is a great form of content marketing. Podcast. So in the sixth point, we have podcast. So podcast was there from a very long time, but recently it became very popular. People started enjoying podcast, maybe, so they love to listen to podcast. So certain things that make podcast very popular. One is, it's very convenient. Like you can hear a podcast anytime, whenever you want. You don't need to be in front of a device and look. For example, if you want to watch a video, you need to be in front of a video, in front of a device. Look into that. But in podcast, you can just plug in a headphone and listen to it. And in the meantime, you can also do something else during that. Maybe someone is doing a morning jogging and they're listening to a podcast. So you don't need to have a separate time for that. You're jogging and at the same time you're listening to the podcast, so it's convenience, right? And conversational, like podcast generally tends to be very long, at least like what I have seen is like nothing less than like 30 minutes or so. There are small podcasts as well, but many a case the podcasts that are popular are quite longer, at least like hours long. So what exactly happens? Like people not only talk about case studies, knowledge, or the incidents or any subject, but they also share stories. They also share their experience. Now membership. Some of you might find it a bit controversial, but again, I want to have it on place because I personally been using this strategy membership for a long time, and I get a good amount, very good result from it. So basic thing is like you get a dedicated audience. So who are going to join your membership, who are going to be in that group? People who knows about you, people who like your work, people who trust you, people who believe in you. Those are the group of people who are there with you. Those are your dedicated audience. So it is very important that you group all of those dedicated audience into a place and make sure you put your attention on that. It's more or less like a community, so you need to put an importance on membership. I have a private membership where I have like a couple of hundred people, and we interact on a bi-weekly basis, and it is like a knowledge sharing thing, and we really enjoy it. And in most cases, like we support each other. So it's like I have a couple of hundred people who are willing to listen to me and willing to help me whenever I need, and I am also like like willing to help them whenever they need. It's like a brotherhood that we have, and it's more or less like a community. And obviously at times of need, you need people to help you out. And third point that I want to discuss is influence. So you have attention of X number of people. In my case, I have attention of a couple of like I think 300 or 400 people. So whenever I want to share a message, I'm pretty sure like at least 50% or at least a good portion, or at least a good portion of people from that membership group, they are going to get my message. That's an influence. So if tomorrow I want to start like if tomorrow I want to promote a plugin that I built, I can just tell them that, hey guys, I built up this plugin, so would you mind do some beta testing for me? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will come up and invest their time, do the testing for me, and share their honest feedback. Now if I wanted to do the same without having that dedicated audience, then I might require to maybe outsource it, or maybe put some kind of incentive in it. So that would cost me money, that would cost me time. So rather than doing all those things, I think it's better that you have a group of people, you have some kind of community, you have some kind of membership, so that you can get across to that group of people who really believe in yourself. And lastly, monetization. Again, like I was mentioned at the very beginning of the slide, that it might sound very controversial, but again, let me put across. Like in my case, I have a membership where there is a free membership, also paid membership. So some of the people who are in the paid membership, they get certain perks, and in a way they are supporting me as well, and I get some monetary benefit out of it. So guys, so this is the workflow that I follow in most of my projects which are relevant in the inbound marketing. First, it's mandatory to have a good website, and then again, we prefer to have one post weekly for most of our clients. These are the steps that we follow. Social media, again, the regular stuff, and also we do some paid paid advertisements so that we get more reach. Every time we post a new article, new content, or new graphics, whatever it is, whenever we post something new, we made it a point that we boost it, or we put some money into that particular content to promote it, so that we can reach more people. And then webinar again, we love webinars, and webinar always works, always bring a good return on investments. We are a big fan of it. These are the few things that we do, or we have it on the to-do list for webinars. One thing I want to highlight, that is the post-event things that we do. It is a good practice that you make sure that once the webinar is over, that's you reach to all the people who attended, and also people who have not attended, because the main game starts after the webinar is actually ends, or once the webinar is over, because that's when your audience will start interacting, or they might come up and make up a decision. And you can always invite them, and it depends like how you are planning it. So we really suggest that you have a solid plan for solid plan of action for after the webinar is done. Like post webinar activities are very important. Then video marketing and podcasting, again I already discussed a couple of times, so I'm not going to repeat the same thing, because it will sound very monotonous. And also we are been talking for a very long time. I think we will shortly run out of time. So again, these are the steps that I follow. You can pause the video and look into it. In case you have any queries, feel free to reach out to me anytime, and I would love to help you with all of your marketing queries that you have. And email marketing, then it is one of the oldest form of marketing, and it is probably something you need to be very serious about, because if you have a good email list, you have a treasure for yourself. Make sure you nurture them, make sure you grow your email list. It's very important. And next that I want to highlight is community. So the best part of having a community is you have your own army of people, like who are your friends, who are who are the people who will communicate and help you whenever you need. So these are the people who believe in whatever you're doing, whatever you are doing, whatever you are saying, and whatever you are sharing with them. So these are your best friends, I can say, on the internet, or maybe in the local market, whatever it is. So these are the people you need to cherish. These are the people you need to take care of. These are the people you need to make them feel special. And always have a practice that you do something special for them. For me, I've generally roll out some premium contents for them. I generally have some super exclusive webinars so that we interact with them, and the same thing we do for a lot of our clients. And lastly, like premium membership, again, like if you are a content creator, then probably this would be a good option for you. You can always have people to sign up for your premium membership, where they can contribute a small amount of money, and you can offer them some value in exchange. So that could be a good option. So thank you so much for giving your precious time and listening to me.
Here at Green Geeks, WordPress works awesome. We offer a one-click installer with automatic updates, tons of developer tools like WP Staging, WP CLI, and Git, free WordPress migration, and access to award-winning expert support 24/7, 365. Plus, WordPress sites hosted on our platform are lightning fast. Most importantly, Green Geeks is the most eco-friendly WordPress web hosting company on the planet.
Simply, plugins power WordPress. But when a plugin fails, so does your site. With fully managed WordPress hosting from Nexus, you get carefully curated plugins that will save you from having to search the plugin database to find the right tools. And you'll never have to worry about managing or updating plugins again. Start building a site that loads ultra fast with instant auto scaling, visual comparisons, plus automatic plugin updates and platform updates. With fully managed WordPress from Nexus, better is built in.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back. Rahul, good to have you with us. Thank you so much for this amazing talk. I have a lot of homework to do, I have to
Thank you,
tell
Shanta.
you. So we only have a couple of minutes, so we'll breeze through this pretty quick. So if I'm just starting my own business, where would you start? Like, there's so much to do. It can be really confusing. So if I had to start with the first thing, what would that be?
Get a website first, and second, understand your audience. Make sure that you do your research about your audience, and start focusing on content marketing, and make sure that you reach the person that you are targeting. Because a lot of time what happen is, like, we beat around the bush. We think that, why don't we target everyone so we'll get everyone as a customer, but that doesn't really happen in most cases.
Mhm. Okay.
So,
Thanks very much. Cynthia, you had a question, did you?
Yes, I did. So when you shared the slide of those 3 billionaires, I was just thinking, what if he just doesn't like to be so much, out in the open? And so maybe what kind of suggestions would you give to someone for brand building if they're an extrovert or they're not just used to selling themselves? How do they do it without feeling overwhelmed?
yeah, one good way is, like, a lot of people, they do it a bit different. For example, I do not, if I talk about if I give you my example, I do not post very regularly on internet, but that doesn't mean that I don't network, or I don't, generate lead, or I don't, get business from the internet. So there is some strategy, there is something that I follow, is called iceberg strategy, where 1/3 is public and 2/3 is private. So 2/3 is only reserved for the, target audience whom I'm targeting. So if today Shanta is my client, then probably my content would reach to her rather than to everyone else. So that kind of strategy can be implemented. And if I want business from Shanta, then I need to be visible in front of her, not in front of everyone. And that again gives you a place of exclusivity. So again, you can use that as on your advantages.
So you could maybe give a talk or something like that. Maybe do a recorded video, much like yourself, right, Rahul?
Yeah, like, one thing that we do is, we try to make things very personalized. Like, for example, if someone attends our webinar and if you don't hear back, like, I
Mhm.
just pop in. It's hard work, but again, I just make a short video. Hey, XYZ, I saw that you signed up for the webinar, but you haven't hopped in. So how about you book a free consultation with me, and just to let me know how can I help you. So that's one quick way to generate a valid lead. And out of like 8 out of 10 I get a positive response, and from there at least 30-35% gets converted. So not
Mhm.
a bad thing to do.
No, not.
And you don't need to be public as well, so that's completely private.
Right, right. Well, I know one thing that I'm going to need to do is go back to those slides, and I am going to need that workflow. I love workflows. So you can bet I'm going to be taking you up on that for sure.
Yeah, I can give you like that Notion link. It's not yet
Mhm.
public. I tried to make it public, but it didn't work out yet.
No worries.
So I can give you that link on Notion, so you can use that.
Sounds
It's like
great.
some part is like you might find it like it's overwhelmed, like it's extra, but again
Hmm.
it's up to you which one to choose, which one
Hmm.
to avoid.
Great.
Thanks, Rahul. And thanks for joining us. And I liked your idea of the iceberg of, deciding how much you share and how much you put in front of the clients you need. Really nice to have you with us today.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Shanta.
So we have a very exciting session from Urban Yogi just after the break. But before that, a huge thanks to our global sponsors, Cloudways, Elementor, GoDaddy Pro, Green Geeks, Nexus, and Stratic, our multilingual partner, Weglot, and our live captioning sponsors, GiveWP and Paid Memberships Pro. And thank you to our media partners and our micro sponsors, because we wouldn't be able to be running this event today without your support.
Welcome to our second wellness session with Urban Yogi. Thanks everyone for your patience. Urban Yogi is the fastest growing app for meditation and sleep. Whether you're a remote freelancer, a small business owner, or an entrepreneur, and if you find it difficult to de-stress, sleep, and focus, Urban Yogi can help. It offers a curated content library of science-backed and practice-backed meditation and mindfulness practices and a 24/7 coach support.
So one of the really cool things about WordFest Live is that it's not just about WordPress, it's also about improving your mental health and just taking that break from daily life. So I hope you enjoy the session.
To put it simply, plugins power WordPress. But when a plugin fails, so does your site. With fully managed WordPress hosting from Nexus, you get carefully curated plugins that will save you from having to search the plugin database to find the right tools. And you'll never have to worry about managing or updating plugins again. Start building a site that loads ultra fast with instant auto scaling, visual comparisons, plus automatic plugin updates and platform updates. With fully managed WordPress from Nexus, better is built in.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
Here at Green Geeks, WordPress works awesome. We offer a one-click installer with automatic updates, tons of developer tools like WP Staging, WP CLI, and Git, free WordPress migration, and access to award-winning expert support 24/7, 365. Plus, WordPress sites hosted on our platform are lightning fast. Most importantly, Green Geeks is the most eco-friendly WordPress web hosting company on the planet.
So, hey everyone. I mean, welcome back to second session by Urban Yogi. Uh, I'm Rahul. I lead growth for Urban Yogi. So the second session is about Into the Calm by Tomic. So, like, without further ado, let's start with the session.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for taking your time to meditate with me. Today, I'd like to invite you to move from your mind into the calm. Mind can be our most powerful ally or our worst enemy. As Robin Sharma puts it, mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. From the moment we wake up, the wheels start turning. An unconscious mind chooses the negative over the positive and builds a story around it. Have you ever woken up and immediately start worrying? Scientists call this phenomenon the negativity bias. This is a relic from our past, when survival was our first priority. Although this is no longer the case today, we still fall a victim of this primitive conditioning. An unconscious mind has an amazing ability of turning even a smallest thing into a big drama. Living this drama is a source of stress, and therefore so many of us developed strategies to distract ourselves with pleasant experiences. Watching TV, eating, drinking, smoking, sex, drugs. The list goes on and on. However, the second that the TV show is over, or the effect of the drug wears off, we are back to the square one. Our mind starts to wander, seeking again, and what it finds is another worry. Scientists from the Harvard University put it bluntly: wandering mind is an unhappy mind. What is an antidote to an unconscious mind? Obviously, the conscious mind. How do we know that we are conscious? We are conscious when we are in the present moment. From the present moment, we can direct our mind, be the master. Every form of meditation, including this one, strengthens your ability to consciously direct your mind. Now that you have a choice, let us go into the calm. Are you ready? Begin by making yourself feel comfortable. If you experience any obvious discomfort, this is a good time to deal with it. Your mind naturally focuses on any pain in your body as a mechanism of survival. And since objective of this meditation is to achieve a relaxed state, it is good to start in a position that is nice and comfortable. Make sure that you sit with your back straight but not rigid, allowing unrestricted flow of your breath. Put your feet on the floor. Feel supported and grounded. Your hands in open position in your lap. Allow your eyes to close. Now that you're sitting comfortably in upright position, let us take a couple of deeper cleansing breaths. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth as if you're trying to blow a balloon. Let's do it together. In and out. In and out. In and out. Breathe normally and relax. Breath is a wonderful tool of relaxation. It's also a wonderful gateway to achieve a state of calm. Now, focus your attention on your breath. Feel its natural flow. For this meditation, I will ask you to breathe in and out through your nose so you can feel your breath better. Slowly start tuning in, feeling all the sensations. It may be tingling of your nostrils, expansion and contraction of your chest, or rise and fall of your belly. It may happen that you perceive your breath through your entire body, and that's absolutely fine. At this point, simply tune in and get accustomed to the natural flow of your breath. You may already notice that your mind started wandering. That's absolutely fine. This is all normal and natural, and it's part of the process. Do not get discouraged when your mind wanders. You always can bring it back, calmly and gently, back to your breathing. Imagine steering a canoe. You don't need to paddle very hard to bring it back to its course. A gentle paddle to the left, a small paddle to the right, and you're back on your course to the calm. And now, to fine-tune this process, let us choose just one point of reference for your breath. And for this meditation, let it be that small space under your nose where you can feel the coolness of the air coming in and warmth of the air coming out as you breathe out. At first, the sensations may feel very subtle, but with time, they will intensify and amplify. Remember that meditation is a practice of 1,000 returns. And every time you can steer your canoe back into the flow of your breath. That's what this is all about. It may happen that your mind is very unsettled, and it's very difficult to steer away from calming thoughts back into the stream of your breath. That's okay. Accept it the way it is. There's no need to fight the current of the river. It is what it is. Sometimes it's calm and gentle, and sometimes the current is very strong, and you simply do what you can, calmly, gently, patiently, bringing yourself back to the calm, one breath at a time. If at any point of this meditation you feel disheartened, think about all the meditators right here, right now, that sit with you and deal with exactly the same distractions. They also try their best. They also try to steer back from the worried mind into the calm of their breath. As you go on and get accustomed to the quality of your breath, you may start noticing the smaller details, like the fact that your in-breath is shorter than your out-breath, or that during the in breath your body tenses up just a bit, and during the out breath your muscles relax. Now, also notice the gap between in breath and out breath. I'll let you practice now for a minute or two. I will be here to hold the space for you and other meditators. Now it's time to return. To conclude this session, shift your awareness from your breath body. Feel the temperature through your skin. Feel your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap, the pressure on your sit bones. And now add some physical movement. Start by wiggling your toes, move your fingers, tilt your head gently and slowly to the left. Feel the muscles stretching. Tilt it to the right. And to finish, let us take together one deep cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Thank you very much for meditating with me. I hope you enjoyed this session. I wish you a wonderful day.
So, thank you so much, guys, for the session. I hope you enjoyed it. So, I gave you guys a demo about the Mac app. So, we are available on Android, Play Store, Play Store, App Store, as well as the Mac App Store. So, so there's this link also that's there, openyogi.live/WordFest, from where you can, get the 3 months of uh, 3 months of premium for free. So head on to that app, and yeah, thank you so much for the session, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
To put it simply, plugins power WordPress. But when a plugin fails, so does your site. With fully managed WordPress hosting from Nexus, you get carefully curated plugins that will save you from having to search the plugin database to find the right tools. And you'll never have to worry about managing or updating plugins again. Start building a site that loads ultra fast with instant auto scaling, visual comparisons, plus automatic plugin updates and platform updates. With fully managed WordPress from Nexus, better is built in.
Here at Green Geeks, WordPress works awesome. We offer a one-click installer with automatic updates, tons of developer tools like WP Staging, WP CLI, and Git, free WordPress migration, and access to award-winning expert support 24/7, 365. Plus, WordPress sites hosted on our platform are lightning fast. Most importantly, Green Geeks is the most eco-friendly WordPress web hosting company on the planet.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for that session, Rahul. It was really relaxing. And with that, we've come to the end of the Asia continent.
Our thanks to our global sponsors, Cloudways, Elementor, GoDaddy Pro, Green Geeks, Nexus, and Stratic. Our multilingual partner, Weglot, and our live captioning sponsors, GiveWP and Paid Memberships Pro. Please be sure to visit their tents and chat with them. There's some great prizes to be won. And don't forget to get your photos snapped in the photo booth brought to us by Content Journey and Stratic. And be sure to check out the swag bag too for deals and gifts from our sponsors. Also, thank you to our media partners and our micro sponsors. You all make our big orange hearts full. There's about a 20-minute break now in the schedule, so head over to the community tent. We'll be back on the top of the hour, starting with the Africa continent. I'm going to try and head over to the tent before I fall asleep. It's about 3:30 in the morning here, so I'll do my best. And it's been a pleasure working with you, Cynthia.
Same here, Shanta. And it's a good idea that you take that break. Before we go, we'd like to give a big thanks to the amazing AV team who've made it look so simple, although there's a lot going on in the background, and to each one of you for being here with us. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, Sabrina.
Hello, Yusuf. We are going to start, right?
Sure.
So, we are welcoming everyone to WordFest. We are kicking off the Africa continent of our 24 hours of celebrating the people, the technology, and the big orange heart of WordPress. WordFest not only delivers a festival, educational content, wellness sessions, and network opportunities, but it is also a fundraiser for Big Orange Heart. Please visit that donate link at any time to support the mission of the organization. Would you like to introduce our first speaker today?
Okay. Our speaker is Annie. Is it Hani? Am I right?
It's Anna Mika.
Welcome to WordPress,
Okay.
of the Africa continent for over 24 hours of celebrating the people, the technology, and the big orange art of WordPress.
Let me do
I
this
can.
then. Yeah. So first up is Anne Mika Bouvlet, who is successful running a creative business with ADHD as your superpower. Anne Mika runs an internationally focused web agency in Mönchengladbach. I'll let her pronounce properly the name of the city in Germany, and trains agencies in efficient use of Elementor Pro. Originally, she is a web designer, but nowadays more focused on front-end development due to her self-assigned role as a passionate accessibility advocate. Diagnosed in her late 40s, she's convinced ADHD can be a superpower when you make versatility and frankness about it your thing. Unsurprisingly, she doesn't stick with one single profession. Ann Mika also works as a technical interpreter, translates geek speak to human speak and vice versa, which is no surprise for someone is focused on accessibility, right? Specialized in functional design. And to confuse the world a bit more, she is also a food blogger, composer, and painter. I'm very pleased to welcome Ann Mika on stage, and here you go. Let's enjoy her session now.
Here at Green Geeks, WordPress works awesome. We offer a one-click installer with automatic updates, tons of developer tools like WP Staging, WP CLI, and Git, free WordPress migration, and access to award-winning expert support 24/7, 365. Plus, WordPress sites hosted on our platform are lightning fast. Most importantly, Green Geeks is the most eco-friendly WordPress web hosting company on the planet.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
To put it simply, plugins power WordPress. But when a plugin fails, so does your site. With fully managed WordPress hosting from Nexus, you get carefully curated plugins that will save you from having to search the plugin database to find the right tools. And you'll never have to worry about managing or updating plugins again. Start building a site that loads ultra fast with instant auto scaling, visual comparisons, plus automatic plugin updates and platform updates. With fully managed WordPress from Nexus, better is built in.
So, hello there. I just hear that anybody can hear me now. Hello, my name is Annemieke Bovelet. I was born in the Netherlands, hence the very Dutch name. But I live in Germany in a city called Mönchengladbach, which is impossible to spell and impossible to write, especially on forms. But Anyway, so I'm going to speak to you as ADHD as your superpower. And this is not about telling you what you should do when you are carrying the same burden. I mean, if you experience ADHD as a burden, as I used to do for a long time, it's just sharing my story. But I tend to talk in the you form, but it's basically actually me talking to myself. Very important for you to know. I'm an accessibility advocate. I have been working on improving my skills in that regard. And suddenly I realized, oh my, I don't know if my slides are accessible. I've tried to use accessible colors, contrasts. And when I remember to do so, I will try to be descriptive of what is happening on the screen for those people who are not able to see what I'm presenting. So yeah, let's go. Sabrina, Leo, Yusuf, please go ahead, turn on the slides. Right. Okay, so the slides are on. Now I'm just wondering, because these slides are now shown very small and I'm shown very big. Is that as was planned? That's better. I tried to use large fonts and stuff so people can really read this. So here we go. Another thing I have to tell you up front. At first I didn't want to do slides because I'm not a fan of slides, but I realized, also having being part of having ADHD, a lot of people can tell a story from A to B. And when I'm telling a story, I'm going from A to Z to Y to M to N to O. So actually, these slides are also to protect the audience. But all right, enough blabbering. Let's go. So, here we go. People would say I'm a creative, right? I'm a graphic designer. I'm a web creator and I'm a web tech nerd. But I'm also a vegan chef and a recipe maker. I'm a painter. I compose music. And I'm an Elementor trainer. Oh, and by the way, this wonderful collage was done by Anja Ryman, who has done a great job depicting all that stuff that I do. So thank you, Anja. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, having all these skills sounds like a blast to most people, but the fact is, I'm also that chick that burns out every 3 to 5 years. And I hope I'm leaving that behind me now because I've never understood why I was burning out every 3 to 5 years, why everything was so overwhelming all the time. And during the years, I started to realize that non-creative stuff, for example, paralyzes my creativity when I'm in the flow. And suddenly someone comes in and say, "Can you look at this bill here?" I'm like, right, the fire stops burning, and it takes a long time to get it back on. And then burning out also happened because I was trying to please all. I wouldn't say no to anyone. And what no one saw and no one sees, because I still have these, are panic attacks. And to me, panic attacks are this physical expression of the body expressing panic where there is nothing to be afraid of. I do not feel like I'm afraid. It's just as if everything inside my body is going bzzz, and then it's paralyzing. And small tasks are becoming mountains. This feeling where you have like this small stack of stuff, bills, contracts, forms. Oh my God, forms. When you have to fill these out and you are just not doing it, you're not doing it. Well, that's very much me, you know. Um, and for example, planning is terrible for me. But let me get back to all the stuff I was replaying in my head once I found out what is causing me to be like I am. So, for those who have trouble seeing, um, here on the left, there is this dark elf wearing red rags, spitting out nasty, dark stuff to a very colorful elf on the right, who is trying to fend that off. And this is very much like how I've been feeling most of my life. In school, I wouldn't give anything for history. At that time, I found history boring. So when the teacher was speaking about history, where I just wanted to hear about today and maybe about tomorrow, I was looking out the window, you know. But biology, as soon as biology came on, I was listening. I didn't even have to take notes because I remembered everything he was telling me. But because of the contrast and because of me getting really great grades for the stuff that I really cared about and getting really bad grades for the stuff that I didn't give a shit about, I was being told I'm lazy, and I think if you also have ADHD, or if you suspect you have this, you may recognize this, right? This word you're just lazy. You're just lazy. Just do it. You know, um, it's something I've been hearing for many, many, many years. And then people telling you, "Oh, but it's so simple." I mean, when I finally had the courage to open up and I was saying like, "Okay, you guys, I'm Mrs. Cool Chick, but really I don't know how to get this done. It's just too much. I can't open up these envelopes. I can't do the administration. I don't know how to run my household today because I have my deadlines." And people are just telling you, "It's so simple. Just do it." Like everyone else. And again, this laziness, that people are emphasizing and saying, we all have to do stuff we don't like. Yeah, we do. But I've learned that this state of being makes things a little different. And then these people saying, you just need to plan it right. You just, here we go again. Um, I've spent thousands on productivity software. I have OmniFocus, Todoist, whatever, Evernote, you name it. I've tried every system in the universe. I mean, that's what it feels like. And it doesn't work for me because I just can't plan things right. Because I don't get to decide what drives me into going into the flow. Well, I do, but I don't. I'll get to that later. But if you are hearing all your life you're lazy, or you just need to do that, or this is so easy, you'll start to doubt yourself. And I started doubting myself. And in spite of having all these talents and being able to create beautiful websites or paintings or music or whatever, I felt like a loser. Unconsciously, I was hearing this word in my brain: you're such a loser. You have a big mouth about how to do that and how to organize that. I mean, I can coach people into organizing their life, no problem. But it feels like being an imposter because, on the other hand, I don't get to organize my life like most people do. So, it's not just society telling me I'm not doing it right, or I should do things differently, or I should plan, or I should whatever. I'm also repeating it to myself. And this is something to anyone I want to give you. If you are struggling with the same thing, stop telling yourself what society is telling you. Because when you have ADHD, you just tick differently. That's just like that. You know, you can't change a dog into a cat, and you can't change someone with the chemical balance that we have into someone who has a regular chemical balance. But again, I'm stepping ahead of what I'm trying to tell you. So, you know, there's this thing about deadlines, right? You have this agency, you get people like, can you do my logo? Can you do my website? Can you do my text? Can you do my SEO? I mean, I've been crazy enough to do even that, but I hate it. So I stopped doing that. Anyway, so when you run a creative business, you are dealing with deadlines, right? And I find it very hard to set a deadline for something because I'm setting it and I'm like optimistic and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get that done by Monday. And then maybe it's 5 or 6 days before Monday. And I feel like, okay, I'm going to do this then, and I'm going to do this then, I'm going to do this then. And then there's a stick in the wheel, whatever it may be: technical issues, emotional issues, other things going wrong, customers asking things of me that I can't or don't want to do. And then suddenly these deadlines, they turn into dreadlines, right? And then there is also this constant fear to disappoint. It's really hard to say no to people. And this is something I had to learn. And I've known I have to learn this for many, many years. But for some reason, I was always like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, I'll try to say no. But it's not happening, right? So when all these deadlines turn into dreadlines, I don't sleep anymore. I can't focus anymore. And then my brain starts to feel like Pac-Man. I mean, you guys, Pac-Man? Um, it was a game in the 80s for those that are from later generations. Pac-Man is a little yellow thing, and he is running through a labyrinth, and he has to eat stuff, and then he gets points, but he's also being chased by little monsters. And when I am close to going into one of these burnouts again, because I'm trying to do everything at the same time, this is what's happening. I'm trying to chase my own thoughts. I can't catch them, and I start to feel chased, and it's horrible. So to get back to the point where it all changed for me, is when I crashed the last time. It was horrible. I didn't want to do anything anymore. No painting, no sites, no nothing. But I couldn't afford not to do anything because that's how I pay my rent. So I went to the doctor. This image is very funny. If anyone wants to know, ask me in a DM on Twitter, because my doctor actually really looks like this. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with all the technical details, but at age 49, I got diagnosed with ADHD. And to be honest, I was enraged, really, because to me, ADHD is a label. It is, well, it was, it's not anymore, but it's a label. People say, yeah, you're using that as an excuse, and. And I was one of those people. I didn't dig into what it really was, but I learned that this is a chemical issue. It's a technical issue. And I've learned if it's not dopamine, it's a potential dam in my flow. And realizing this has made me change the way I work. This dopamine issue, not having enough dopamine, is just causing me to go through hell if I have to do something that is lacking. So I changed my entire business model. I changed how I select my customers, because you guys, it's just chemistry, really. It's not a label if you don't use it as one. This is something I learned. It's not a defect. We just have a different engine. You're not broken. That's what I keep telling myself. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just different. And hyperfocus is the superpower. Hyperfocus, for those who are maybe looking at this not knowing what the heck I'm talking about, hyperfocus is the ability to work on something for hours and hours and hours and hours on end that you like to do. And in that way, I sometimes finish a job that others would need a week for, and I'll do it in 2 days. And I learned to apply my own rules. So how did I get there? I had to think about, why do deadlines become these dreadlines? Why? Why am I so afraid to disappoint people? Why? And then I realized, again, I have been repeating what society has been telling me. You should just do this. You're lazy. And I was trying to be chocolate. Trying to be chocolate is like trying to be something for everybody, the right thing for everyone. And again, on the right, for those who have trouble seeing, I have again this picture of this monster blasting all this negativity to the light berry, because this is still what's going on in my head all the time. Call me crazy, but I really love this image. And trying to be chocolate, I found out that is what is so detrimental to my entire being as a creative. So I've chosen this rocket, it's like taking off, as my favorite image in this presentation, because I had to learn that can is not the same as want. And only if I figure that out, or that's the wrong expression. I'm sorry, that's me being Dutch. Only when I realize that, only when I stick to remembering that, it's where I take the best. Because I can design a site. I love that. I can do logo and print design. I love that. I can develop the front end. I love that. I can add custom features. I love that too. I can be a copywriter. I love that too. I can be an accessibility consultant. I love that. And I can write functional designs. I love that. But I found out that I hate to do any combination of these. This is my secret to running my business successfully with ADHD. This realization and communicating this to my customers has been life-changing. Because don't want is equal to can't do. Now, if a job comes my way, like a website, of course, it entails several things. It entails the design, it entails the development, and it entails many things. And if I feel that part of this job is something I really would love to do, it'll be dope. And I'm going to outsource the rest. And the pitfall of needing the money, I decided to not to do it anyway, because the price is too high. Doing creative stuff and non-creative stuff at the same time is detrimental for me. So I had to make choices. And the thing is, I was scared. I was so scared. I thought I'm going to lose customers, I'm going to lose turnover, but I didn't. And I've learned to just say no. Doesn't always work, but when I do, I'm happy. When I don't do it, I have the consequences. Because when something is want, it's dope. And this means it's 100% quality for me. And so I can deliver 100% quality to my customer. And that is something I have explained to my customers. I said, I'm going to outsource this. I'm going to do this myself. If you disagree, fine, find someone else, right? I am also now able to be upfront and say, what you're asking me is actually something I can do, but it's not something that I like to do. So I'm going to forward you to someone else, or I'm going to share this job with someone else. And that is how I successfully run my business. And in all honesty, I'm currently still working on 2 projects where I am being chocolate, and it is hard. It's really hard. So this is something I keep saying to myself. You are not chocolate. I have it written on the wall. You can't see it, so I'm pointing to something you don't see, but yeah, you are not chocolate. This is great for me to remember. And it took more than just that realization. It took brutal honesty. And it still takes brutal honesty every day. And I still have to be aware of am I saying yes because I can do it, or am I saying yes because I want to do it? So I have to be honest with myself, because I want to do everything. The idea of, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh, let's be great. Oh, let's make this customer happy and myself happy doing that. Sure. But I have to sit back and think, so you're going to do the design, right? And then you're going to think about how you're going to do that custom post type. And then, I'm sinking in like a souffle that has been taken out of the oven too fast. So again, I have to be honest with myself and with my current customers. And another thing I tell myself is your talents are unique. I mean, sure, people say you have to take every job you can. You have to make money. You have to pay rent. And you have to be aware of the competition. There are so many graphic designers out there. There's so many web developers out there. And nowadays, I'm just being arrogant. And I'm like, yeah, sure, but they're not me. And this uniqueness, I'd like to give that to anyone who's struggling with this. You are unique. Don't forget it. There's only one you, something I realized. And it's also something I have on the wall. You are one of a kind. You don't have to be chocolate to your customer, nor do you have to fit him or them like a glove. A customer, I think, should fit you like a pair of the best hiking boots you've ever had, for the simple reason that customer relationships are, if you do it right, if you like it to be that way, are long-term relationships. You are traveling through your career with your customers. So if they don't fit you like a pair of hiking boots, you're going to get blisters during the walk, and that is not nice, right? hyperfocus. Hyperfocus is also something I've learned to cherish, and the people around me were telling me, you have to eat and you have to sleep. But if my hyperfocus sets in at 9 p.m., I'll be working until 3 a.m. in the morning, and I have to make sure that I get enough sleep and that I can get rest and all of that. But this thing, hyperfocus, it's unique. It's part of my uniqueness, and I think it's part of the uniqueness of everybody who is struggling with having ADHD. Remember that it makes you very, very special. And modesty, and please don't confuse that with humbleness, but modesty is detrimental when you're like this. You cannot sell this concept. I mean, it's not a concept, but it's what it is. But to many people, this is foreign. And so they call it a concept. Modesty is detrimental. Because if a customer says, yeah, but I also want you to do this and this and this and this, and then I'm just going to tell them, no, I'm not going to do it because I'm good at this and I can do the other stuff, but I don't want to do it. I really don't want to. So I'm going to outsource that part of the job. And if you don't like it, well, sorry, find someone else again. And this is not sending away turnover. This is actually creating space for new customers, for challenging customers, for customers who understand that if they let you do your thing the way you do it, they get the best of you. And so they get the best for themselves. So this is what I learned. Put trust in my talent. And this is where I am talking to you listening to this. If you are having ADHD, if you're going into hyperfocus, if you have these days where you create fantastic things, but at the same time, you haven't vacuumed your house for a week, or your kitchen looked like you just put a bomb in it and set it off. And most important, enjoy your craft. And this is something one of my very, very dear customers in California, she's called Shambhavi Saraswati. She's a great woman. She reminded me of that. We are in a project together. It is a project where I am chocolate. I'm being more than one of the players, and it has been really hard. And at some point she said, yeah, and don't forget that you need to find joy in what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, it's not the right thing. So I want to thank her for that. And I also want to pay some special thanks to WordFest today. Thank you for having me. Thank you for organizing this. Thank you for a big orange heart. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And I also want to put in a little thanks to Donnie Donovan. And oh my God, I so misspelled her name. It's Donnie Donovan. I put a link here. It's anslink.inbox, because Donnie managed to give me one productivity tip where I thought, yeah, and that probably does work for me. It's about organizing your Gmail, and she does that in under a minute. So guys, go look anslink.inbox. And now I think I should tell you, ask me anything. And if you are feeling like you don't want to ask me anything here, you'd rather do that in private, send me a DM. You can find me on Twitter under @Bavalat. Right.
Thank you very much, Anne, for such an interesting talk.
Thank you
I
too.
need to go back to it and make some notes for myself as well.
Really?
Yeah. While we're waiting, yeah, it's not a chocolate. Should it be printed? And you're not a chocolate. Should it be printed and put just in front of you so you can see it all the time? Not to drop this idea in the madness of every day.
Yeah.
No,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for finding time to join us and to share what you've learned.
Thank you. I enjoyed doing that. I hope it will do something for other people as well.
Sure, entirely. While we are waiting for questions to come up, should we let Yusuf to introduce our sponsors, thanks to whom this event can be right here, right now? You're muted, Yusuf.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Hanamika, right?
Yeah, you pronounced that perfectly.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the. I was actually able to get some things down. Like, stop telling yourself what the society is telling you. Then, deadlines becoming dreadlines. In fact, I do that a lot. Then, put trust in your talent. I was able to get that down. And then, enjoy. I'm sure you enjoy your crafts. I think I'll do
Yeah.
that more these days. All right, so we'd like to thank our sponsors, global sponsors, Cloudways, Elementor, GoDaddy Pro, GreenJix, NextX, and Stratic. We have our multilingual partner as Wiglot, and our live captioning sponsors, GiveWP and Paid Pro Memberships Pro. Please ensure you visit their tents and chat with them. You might even win some prizes. Don't forget to get your photo snapped in the photo booths brought to us by Content Journey and Stratic. And be sure to check out the swag bag too for deals and gifts from our sponsors. Also, thank you to our media partners and our micro sponsors. You all make our big orange hearts full. Thank you very much.
Thanks. And as we don't have any questions coming right now, and could you please remind our attendees where they can find you if they would have any questions later?
All right. So the I would say the easiest place to find me is on Twitter. It's just my handle is my last name. And you can reach me via my website. It's annebovlet.eu. And just send me an email. I mean, I know everybody likes all this funky stuff. I mean, yeah, I am on this what's this new thing called? I can't even remember it. There's this new channel. It's called the new LinkedIn for creatives, and I've just spontaneously forgot what it's
One
called.
more new LinkedIn. You know, I think like there is every year something that is called new LinkedIn, new Twitter.
Yeah. 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 And I'm I'm horrible at this. You know, it's like I have trouble remembering names. I have trouble remembering numbers and stuff like that. There is a question I see from Leo.
No, Leo is our chat moderator. So he brings up questions coming from YouTube Live.
Wonderful.
Also, sorry, I'll make a small note for our attendees. If you have any questions, just post them in YouTube Live or on WordFest website, and we'll see them, and we'll be able to bring them to N. Sorry. So
Okay.
this is a question. Should
So
I read it?
I can read it if it's okay.
Sure.
He's asking me, Annemieke, of all the tips you've given, what's the single most important thing people with ADHD should start doing today? Stop being chocolate. Realize that you can't be that one great thing to everybody. Realize that because your chemistry is different than that of other people, it is not something you are personally responsible for who you are. You can't hold a cat being responsible for being a cat, not being a dog. And so you can't hold someone with ADHD responsible for having a brain that decides what to focus on with way less of control than regular brain chemistry. I'm not going to use the word normal because to me, normal is the average of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is another question coming through. I like to read those questions out loud, especially because I know there may be people following this presentation who are visually impaired. So I like for them to be able to hear these questions. So when you choose to outsource people, do you ask people you know personally, being other developers, designers, or some other ways? Yes, I ask people personally. Interesting enough, most of them are like me. So they love that one thing that they do. And if it gets them going, it gets them going, and I will get the best of them. But this doesn't mean that I have a closed network. It means if you want to be part of my network and part of those people that I outsource stuff to, come and find me. Present yourself to me. Don't just send me a message on LinkedIn saying, hi, I want to connect, because I won't respond to those. But get in a DM with me on Twitter, or send me an email and get with me in a video meeting. And then we can get to know each other, because I love expanding my network. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting how you get surrounded by like-minded people when you just start to filter just for those people who kind of aligns with your mindset as well.
Yeah. Yeah. If I've learned that if people don't understand this mindset, it's difficult for them to work with me. So, and I often get jobs under a lot of pressure. And this is also something I found. If I get a job with a ton of pressure, but it's something that I love to do, I'll go into hyper focus and I'll be funking, and I'm not tired, and I'm happy, and it's wonderful. And it's so great if you have one team where everybody is feeling like that. You're all like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to pump each other, right?
It is, but it's also having this understanding for each other. Like if someone went through hyperfocus in the middle of the night, I'm the last person to ring them up 8 o'clock in the morning, say, hey, knock, knock, where are you? Because I know that. I know that. And it's I don't know, spiritual people would say, this is the cosmos doing its job. But I land more and more customers who are like that as well. And it's just wonderful. And talking to these people and opening about this often has them open up as well. And sometimes I notice when a customer is like that and they're not so much aware of it, or they are still being pressured in this idea that they have to be chocolate, I will address the subject without mentioning ADHD. I will just ask them, is this how you feel? Is this what makes you tick more than that? Or is this a job part of this job that you don't want to do? Would you like me to find you someone who can do it for you? And that really works. Yeah. And again, many people are afraid that if they start selecting their customers like that, or the people they work with like that, that they might lose out on turnover. Mm-hmm. But it's actually creating space for new turnover, because imagine that for small money, you're taking a job because you are thinking, I need to add money to my savings. Mm-hmm. And understanding that if you do that, you're missing out on big money and great projects. Because once you accepted a project, you're screwed. You have to do it. You can't cut yourself in two.
Yeah.
This is something I had to learn. This is also something that people around me, partner, family, they're like, oh, but you can't live like this all the time, and can't you create stuff that gives you a constant stream of income? And I'm like, fuck no. Excuse my French, but you know. Okay,
Yeah, we have another question coming up.
Yeah. So the question is, can you share resources to learn more about hyperfocus and ADHD as a professional? I can't. I don't. But there is this huge community out there, especially on Twitter. I already mentioned Donnie Donovan, who had the courage to lift off in full self-employment, creating all kinds of stuff about ADHD. There is a great group on Facebook with professionals having ADHD, speaking about how they organize their life, but I don't have the link right now. So I'm sorry. I can go and look it up, but come and find me on Twitter and I'll give you that link, because this group is led by Amber, and it's Amber Hins, and it's absolutely wonderful. Maybe you can look it up, Yusuf or Sabrina. Amber Hins, I don't know how you say that. I typed it here.
Okay.
Well, I think we'll look it up and post in chat so everyone can see just right after this session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people are more and more open about this, more and more sharing. There's a lot of shame over this topic of ADHD, because so many people think, oh yeah, isn't that this thing where children are too lively and you have to make sure that they focus? No, it's not. And I don't want to get into all the technical sides of ADHD, because that is also part of something that changed. I am done defending myself to normal people. I'm really done with that. And this is why I get customers that fit me like that shoe. And yeah. And I mean, if someone really wants to know about it and really wants to understand, come find me. I'll talk.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And just the last point, can you remind again your Twitter handle? Because you said, like, find me on Twitter.
Yeah, my Twitter handle is my last name.
Your last name?
Yeah, so it's @Bovelet. I really use that handle because I have another handle, but that is for my Dutch Twitter, so you guys won't be able to follow what I'm writing there unless you're Dutch. The @Bovelet handle is my international account.
Thank you very much. We'll be sharing this in the comments. And thank you very much for your talk. It was lovely to have you here.
Thank you too, Sabrina. Thank you, Yusuf. It was wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We'll get back on the stage like in 10 minutes to welcome our next speakers.
Okay.
We're switching on and off, I think.
Yeah, I see we're switching on and off.
About managing or updating plugins again. Start building a site that loads ultra fast with instant auto scaling, visual comparisons, plus automatic plugin updates and platform updates. With fully managed WordPress with Nexus, better is built in.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
Here at Green Geeks, WordPress works awesome. We offer a one-click installer with automatic updates, tons of developer tools like WP Staging, WP CLI, and Git, free WordPress migration, and access to award-winning expert support 24/7, 365. Plus, WordPress sites hosted on our platform are lightning fast. Most importantly, Green Geeks is the most eco-friendly WordPress web hosting company on the planet.
And we are back. We are going to have a few community interviews in a minute. And I'll let Yusuf to introduce our wonderful speakers.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So next up, we have our community interviews with Sabo Swana. Did I get that? Emily Onkla and Bisia Neri. So Emily is the director of growth at GoWP, a company that creates happiness for digital agencies and helps them to become more profitable by increasing their revenue. Lowering their overhead costs and retaining their clients of ongoing work. When Emily is not hanging out in the GoWP niche agency owners community, she enjoys spending time in nature. Emily prioritizes an active lifestyle in nature and spending time with her husband and two young daughters. So next we have Bisianeri.
January. Yeah.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Pictionary helps agencies, businesses, designers, and developers thrive and win on the web by putting their users at the center of their process. As part of this, she also organizes the Design for Conversions conference. Then we have Tabo Swana. Tabo enjoys helping people get the most out of WordPress. He joined Automatic as a happiness engineer in 2018. He's currently part of a team that offers user support for the WordPress mobile apps, Jetpack mobile apps, WooCommerce mobile apps, and Simple Notes apps. Tabo was the primary organizer for the very first WordCamp Harare, am I right? And is a former co-organizer of the Harare WordPress meetup. Non-WordPress obsessions include chess and stock market news. That's for Sabu. So, Sabrina.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yusuf. And we are grateful to our podcast interviewer, Joka Sabona, for those community interviews. We'll let you enjoy them right now.
Or 24/7, 365. Plus, WordPress sites hosted on our platform are lightning fast. Most importantly, Green Geeks is the most eco-friendly WordPress web hosting company on the planet.
To put it simply, plugins power WordPress. But when a plugin fails, so does your site. With fully managed WordPress hosting from Nexus, you get carefully curated plugins that will save you from having to search the plugin database to find the right tools. And you'll never have to worry about managing or updating plugins again. Start building a site that loads ultra fast with instant auto scaling, visual comparisons, plus automatic plugin updates and platform updates. With fully managed WordPress from Nexus, better is built in.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
Hey everybody, Joe Casabona here with a WordFest community interview. I am here with Tabo Swana, right? How did I do there, Tabo? Awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome. He is a happiness engineer at Automatic. And I'm excited to talk to you today for WordFest Live. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I had a pretty good week. Down here, it's winter. I live in Cape Town, South Africa, so it's cold and rainy every day, but goodness, I work from home, so I don't have to worry about getting wet on the commute.
Awesome. Yeah, it is the opposite here. I'm in the East Coast on the East Coast of the United States. So we are full on summer mode here. So the WordFest is an event that is created by or put on by Big Orange Heart. They're focused on mental well-being, especially for people in the WordPress space, but also kind of the remote worker space. You work at Automatic, so I expect you have a pretty unique point of view on both. First, what does the WordPress community mean to you? How important is that in your work?
Oh man, the WordPress community is what really got me started in my work. As a matter of fact, I started working with WordPress some years ago. Can I say maybe 2013?
Okay.
And what I found out about it was, so this thing that we call community, I never really experienced that before in any other fields. I used to use Joomla before I started using WordPress, and they had no such thing in comparison to the WordPress community. So when I found out about WordPress, and back then they used to have, well, still today, they used to have in the WP admin dashboard like a WordPress news section. Like it would have links to blog posts and I found out about WP Tavern, and it was just so awesome to see so many people giving of their time to this software. And I just got deeper and deeper into it, reading about the events and things like that in community. And man, I just fell in love with WordPress, basically. That's what happened. And to fast forward, I ended up organizing an event in Harare. It was the first WordCamp Harare in 2016. And from there, that's when I met some automaticians. They actually came to speak too. It was Herman Koch and Job Thomas. And just talking to them and getting to know them, and they were telling me about the company called Automatic. And I mean, it was just so mind-blowing to me how no matter where you live in the world, you could be a part of this community, and opportunities were there for us that we were pretty much, in my part of the world, we were not aware of. And the WordPress and the community opened my eyes to these things, to all these opportunities, all these amazing people all around the world, And yeah, the WordPress community actually changed my life. So I'm really grateful to it. And that's why I dedicated so much time into organizing when I first started, being a meetup organizer. And yeah, the community, it means a lot to me.
Yeah, that's fantastic and so important. I mean, the same here. I view, especially, I mean, I don't know if it's this way for you, but after graduating college, graduating university, it's a little bit harder to make friends and form bonds, right? There's some weird middle time before if you choose to have kids, where you become friends with your kids' parents or whatever. But and the WordPress community for me filled that void, and I have very close friends that I know strictly from going to WordCamps. So I think that that kind of bond is not something I thought I would get after college, and it's really really cool to see.
Right, exactly. I mean, I've made so many friendships and relationships in the community, and it just feels like I'll tell you a little secret. I think most of my life I kind of felt like an outsider. Like I don't really know a lot of people like me or have the same interests as me. But when I found out about the WordPress community, it was like coming home. It was like I just got this sense of belonging, like, oh wow, these people that's so fascinated by this stuff just like me, and we got so much to share and talk about, and yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, that is really amazing to hear. I love it. And especially because I guess if you work in an office, which many people did in the before the pandemic, you go to lunch with your coworkers or whatever. But I'm now self-employed. I work from home. Uh, Automatic is a fully remote company. Um, what what are I'd love to talk about what you see as some of the benefits of working from home, as well as some of the drawbacks maybe of being a remote worker, especially because you are in a fully remote company of people all over the world.
Right. So the most obvious thing is, it's there's a lot more convenience. You don't have to deal with the time spent on commuting, and I feel like when you get those hours back, the hours that you'd be spending on the highway or on the bus or whatever, you you become more efficient and productive at your work because you cut down on a lot of wasted time. You can get started anytime you want. There's a lot of freedom with being a remote worker. Um, Depending on the kind of role that you do, I know a lot of developers. I'll say in automatic, it's like you don't really have a schedule. You just work at the time that you feel most productive. So that's a real huge benefit of being a remote worker. I feel like, I'm kind of like an introvert.
Mhm.
So being on my own for me is really cool. I do my best work when I'm by myself. When I work, I live with my girlfriend, and we're both working from home right now. And I mean, I will close my office door. I just like to be totally by myself. That's when I feel most productive. So for me, it's a huge benefit. Um, the other thing that you touched on is working with people from all over the world. So that's a really good experience because I get to learn about other people's cultures, and it builds my empathy for other people. Like in the kind of work that I do, because I'm in customer support, empathy is a really important trait to have. And working with people from all over the world, different walks of life, people that I normally would never be in contact with. But because I'm in this company that we're from all over the world and we can communicate, it's you learn something, you grow from that. I've grown as a person from interacting with people from all over the world. So that's a huge benefit of remote work too. Now, as far as downsides, um, like I mentioned, I'm an introvert, so being by myself is not. It's, it doesn't really affect me that much. But I know for a lot of people, not being able to see people face to face, or as you mentioned, go to lunch with someone, people can suffer from loneliness. Um, People can get. I know sometimes people can get depressed from not having contact with others. So I know that's something that as remote workers we have to be conscious of, especially and when you're in a company with other remote employees. Um, being there for each other, it's really important. So like at Automatic, we have Slack that we use for social communication. We're all part of teams, different teams, small teams of about maybe 10 people, 10 to 15 people. Every week, we make a point to have a team hangout on Slack. You know, my team, we like to have an icebreaker. Every meeting, we have an icebreaker. And it helps us to connect, you know, and to prevent that feeling of being isolated. So it's really important to say hello to everybody, be on a team call. We joke with each other, we catch up with each other and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it's like, especially when the pandemic hit, and I know a lot of people really, it is a painful experience for a lot of people. So just being there for each other, you know, taking a few minutes out of your day to ping someone on Slack and say, "Hey, how you doing? What's been going on? Are you okay?" You know, just being mindful that this is a difficult time. Not
Yeah.
only even before the pandemic, when life was a little bit normal, but when you add this pandemic and being confined almost, and uh, we have a lot less freedom now. So, you know, just being aware that we have to be each other. We have to hold each other up. But I think another thing I'll say for companies, um, Automatic has always had this thing called the Grand Meetup,
Mm-hmm.
which brings everybody together. So I know it was more doable pre-pandemic. A lot of travel has been postponed or
Yeah.
stopped, but you know, once things get back to normal, I look forward to those meetups. And also, each team has its own, like a team meetup with the 10 or 15 people that you work with every day. I always look forward to those. You know, I think being at Automatic, you know, it's ironic that it's a totally remote company, but I actually feel a lot closer to my teammates here in Automatic than I did when I used to go to the office and see people every day. Because you know, that team meetup, we take like a week, 7 days, where we all go somewhere and we're in the same hotel or something, and we eat together, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We work together. We play games together. You know, I feel a lot more connected, even though we only do that like once a year, 1 week out of the year. But I really do feel a lot more connected to my teammates because of that.
Yeah, that's great, and that's so important, right? Because I mean, you hear a lot of people say like, you know, remote work doesn't work, and or it can't work for everybody, and maybe that's true, but with a company culture where you make sure, you know, each team gets face time, in person time, at some point, you know, I think that goes a long way. Some of the strongest bonds I formed in high school were with these guys I went on a retreat with called Kairos. I went to a Catholic school, and you know, Kairos was a 4-day retreat where we hung out and worked together and prayed together, and um, you know, we became friends over that time, because when you really get to know somebody over that period of time, you know, you form stronger bonds. So I think that's really great. We are coming up on time here, Tabo. I want to thank you for the great insight and the stories to share with the WordFest audience. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been a real honor.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another WordFest community interview. I'm here with Picha Neri and Emily Hunkler. They are part of the Cloudways Mavericks program. Picha, Emily, thanks so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. This is one of the many community interviews highlighting people in the WordPress, WordFest, remote work community. And WordFest is about the kind of mental health, especially with remote workers, especially over the last couple of years where we've been kind of isolated working at home and not necessarily in a co-working space. I went to work at a coffee shop for the first time in 18 months last week, which was super duper exciting for me.
Exciting, yeah.
So let's first start off with a little bit of an intro, who you are and what you do. So let's go. Picha, you're listed first on my screen. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So my name is Picha Neri, and I am Italian, but I lived in London for many years, and then for a couple of decades, and then moved to Spain, which is where I'm talking to you from, 5 years ago. I am a designer and a UX expert, and I am one of the Cloudways Mavericks. And yeah, that's me, I think.
Awesome. And Emily?
Yeah, I'm Emily Hunkler. I am currently Director of Growth at GoWP, and I was invited here by Cloudways, so really, really happy to be here and help out that team as well. I am from Ohio originally. I lived in Spain for 6 years, so Picha, I'm very jealous of you still being there. It's a beautiful place. And yeah, I'm currently actually working in a co-working space right now, because I've been doing a little bit of traveling, visiting family, and it's nice to be back in a space and, at least here where I am, not having to wear a mask and, seeing people and having some, one-on-one conversations and, even though they're not coworkers, but being able to stop and have coffee with someone when you're working. So that's my current situation, and that's me.
Awesome, man. I need to find someplace fun to live for a while. I mean, I grew up in New York. I currently live in Pennsylvania, which is why my New York accent has softened a little bit. But I didn't hit coffee as hard as I usually hit it when I said coffee shop before. I'm trying to be mindful so people understand what I'm saying. But that's fantastic. And so I think that actually speaks a lot to kind of our ability as remote workers to work where we want, when we want, kind of. I know throughout the pandemic, I've been able to have a very flexible work schedule because my wife is a nurse. So she wasn't working from home, obviously, and we have kids. And so on the days she worked, I'd watch the kids, and then I would take, the days that she wasn't working to do my own stuff. So I think that speaks a lot to the flexibility, but it could also be tough. And WordFest is focused on mental health and remote workers. What were you both doing to kind of, try to stay healthy mentally and physically throughout the pandemic while working from home? Emily, why don't you take this one first?
Yeah, so like you, Joe, my partner was not a remote worker. I was used to working from home in my office. I have 2 young children, but we had, childcare for them. So they were out and about. They were home, so they weren't in a childcare facility during COVID and all of that. But we had, someone taking them out and playing
Nice.
and going on walks, and not in the house.
Yeah.
But when COVID hit, my husband came home also. So we started sharing the office. And it's not a big office. So it was a challenge at first, and figuring out, how to manage that, and, who has calls when, and not interrupt each other. And also, this is, and I'm sure people can relate to this, but it's not just a coworker, it's someone you live with. You see them, you used to have a 40-hour a week break from them, right? And now it's constant. So it's dealing with that also. I do feel, I feel fortunate we didn't have too many issues regarding, seeing each other too much. So that was kind of nice. But yeah, you mentioned, staying physically healthy as well. And that's something that we really prioritized. And I think it actually helped having him home with me, because we would go on walks together. Then, it's like, oh, let's take a break for lunch and let's go on a walk. And we would do that every day, weather permitting. And we've been good also about, giving each other time to get that exercise in. With kids, it's difficult. So you do kind of have to partner on that and say, you can go for a run today, you can go for a bike ride today, I'll do it tomorrow. Those sorts of things. So we prioritize that. And and when you have a week of, rain or something like that, it's hard. So one thing we did do during the pandemic was we got a rowing machine. So we had that set up in the garage. So even when the weather's bad, we can do something. So that it is something that for me is vital to my mental health. At least getting 3 days of activity in, something. And when I don't, it can get bad, and you can get, in grumpy moods, and it affects everybody in the household. So remembering that and making sure that I'm doing that and staying on top of that, and then, holding each other accountable on that too, is something that we would kind of do when someone seems to be in a bad mood, like, hey, why don't you, go row or go for a walk, something like that.
Awesome. You'll have to let me know which one you get, because I was actually looking into a rowing machine. I was doing like the Beachbody Apple TV apps, and I have Apple Fitness. And my daughter just asked me recently, she's like, why don't you exercise anymore, Daddy? And I'm like, well, I'm doing like other stuff. Like I have a drum set, and and she was like, I liked watching
drums.
Yeah.
Did you say drum set?
A drum set. Yeah. I have an electric drum set.
That's exercise.
Yeah,
that's exercise. Yeah.
That closes my rings way faster than like going for a walk.
I bet.
But yeah, that's a lot of fun. And when I'm having a bad day, it's really nice to kind of jam.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about the weather for that. So.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was in the market for a rowing machine. But she's like, I liked watching you box, and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'll have to start boxing again.
That is something nice about the stationary exercise, though. You can, like, we have ours in the garage, so I could have the two girls with their scooters or something doing circles in the garage while I'm, you don't get your best time in those situations, but everyone's able to get some exercise.
Yeah, and like rowing is hard.
It is hard. Yeah.
My father-in-law makes it look easy. Anyway, Picha, what about you?
I saw quite a few of my life choices confirmed at the beginning of the pandemic, because I'd been working remotely since moving from London. When I was in London, funny enough, I always had a studio outside the house. I've always sort of worked for myself, but I always had a place to go. Now they're called co-working spaces. We didn't used to call them, but anyway, they always existed and they were great. I always loved them. But since I moved to Spain, I didn't quite do that. I couldn't find the right one. So I'd been working from home for a long time. So I had a lot of systems in place already to stave off all the bad things about remote working, like the isolation, because I also was working from, living in a city, in a completely new city where I didn't know anyone. And in fact, I wasn't working with anyone because I work all over the place, but never with Spain. So in fact, the WordPress community is where I went to find the first people that I met, and I made really good friends. WordPress community and skating community, because I also inline skating. That's where I went to find people. Yeah. But I already had all those systems in place. And of course, I was already completely set up, and I didn't have to homeschool anyone, which I was quite thankful for at various points. So I really felt for, I understand it must have been so hard. But as for the exercise, we had a good 3 months of proper lockdown here. We could not leave the house. We were not able to leave for exercise. And then I think after maybe 2 months, they allowed people to go out for an hour, but the infection rate was still super high. And I went out the first day super excited, and then it was basically, I freaked out entirely because it was full of people everywhere spreading, in a mist of sweat. So I sort of swiftly headed back. So I didn't have that. I didn't have my cycling, my skating, my obviously socializing through sports. And I have to say that really, I suffered from it. But because also I'm quite introverted and I like isolation. I mean, it did get to the point where I was like, yeah, that's enough of a good thing, but I had all those systems in place. And I have to say that Big Orange Heart played a huge part in that. I mean, it did ever since I made the move to Valencia from London, but especially during the lockdown, everybody rallied round. I was already part of what is called a life group. So it's 6 of us that used to meet every 2 weeks. And ever since the pandemic started, we meet every week. And and also we have a dedicated Slack channel. It's just the most amazing support group. I know that I can find help there whenever I need it. But so yes, in certain ways, I think I had it easier. Also, I have a big terrace. That was such a blessing.
Nice.
And yeah, and in other ways, I think it got, after a while, it got to be harder if you live on your own. And also one interesting side effect is that although I had been working from home for that long, I then, as soon as November last year, I said, right, that's enough, and found myself a place outside the home to work from, because I thought, at least if they do lock us down again in that way, I have a reason to leave the house, and they can't prevent me because I'm on my own in here. I basically got a shop, you know, I work from a shop, so I can, because I couldn't do a co-working because I do all these recordings so often. But yeah,
I can totally understand that. And we're fortunate that we bought our house in May of 2019, and it came with a huge shed, like that the guy and his I guess girlfriend, his partner, they had the house, and her 16-year-old daughter lived there too, but he would race dirt bikes, and so it was big enough to like keep dirt bikes, and like he would shoot archery, and I don't do any of those things, so I just kind of converted it to like an outside office when the noise was getting too loud, or you know, kids, like especially in the winter, kids cooped up in the house, it's like so I can totally understand that. And then the working out part, like when it started here in the United States, at least, and gyms closed, like weightlifting stuff, any kind of weights, any exercise stuff, like you couldn't find any of it. I ended up for the workout videos I was doing, I used paint cans, which I feel like my Italian
Those are
ancestors
heavy.
would, yeah, right, yeah, they were like, I feel like they would appreciate. But I think that being set up is really important, right? Because something that didn't cross my mind until I worked from my parents' house for a couple of days is I was like hunched over the dining room table on a hard chair, and like for an hour I was like, wow, that is bad if someone's been doing this for 6 or 8 months or whatever. You know, I suspect we all have comfortable setups because we work from our home office every day for at least 8 hours probably. So that's another thing that didn't occur to me until I had to do it somewhere else, and I'm like, man, most people who aren't set up for remote work could, you know, ergonomically are probably not in the best position. That wasn't meant to be a pun. So Picha, you mentioned getting involved in local communities, and so I want to wrap this up with the importance of the WordPress and tech community to you, right? Because to both of you, but you mentioned specifically this is how you met people when you moved to Spain, right? And this is something that I've been struggling a little bit with because I'm about 3 hours from where I grew up, and my wife's family is here, and but like none of the friends I grew up with are here, and so I'm looking for, you know, a different group of friends to hang out with, so I'm not always like tagging along with my wife, so we can have some alone or a part time, right? So I guess the question in there is how important is the WordPress community to you?
Honestly, it was a life-saving device at the time, where I had not considered this aspect of moving somewhere where I wouldn't be working. So I wouldn't be meeting people via the normal means. And also I never, you know, I'm a risk taker. I don't really think about the consequences. And then I was like, maybe it'd be nice to meet people. And the WordPress community was amazing and still is. You know, these are my friends now. Obviously, I haven't seen many of them for a while because we haven't seen anybody, but they are there. You know, we have WhatsApp groups and all the rest of it. So extremely important. And in fact, valid for here, but I kind of know that everywhere I go in the world, I will find someone. It's the best way because you've got somebody in common, you've got people in common. And yeah, I think it's amazing in that sense, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about that constantly, right? And I have a mastermind group. We meet every couple of weeks, and I'm going to this event called Skip the Grind in about a month. And I saw the attendee list, and they're like my friends. Like it's going to be a reunion of sorts, and it's really cool to know that, you know, I can go at least most places in the United States, probably other places around the world, and know I have friends there. So Emily, I know that this is really important to you because GoWP, like their happiness hour, is something that on the days I was able to, I look forward to doing that and being there and participating in the conversation. So what's the WordPress community mean to you?
Yeah, I think, you know, like you've said, and like Picha has said, it's so important. And it's something that I have found I miss so much without the WordCamps happening. And that's I was excited to be involved with planning and putting on WordCamp Atlanta this year, and obviously that, or last year at this point, I guess. And obviously that was canceled. All of the things that have been canceled, right? And that's something, when you are a remote worker working from home, you look forward to those moments to actually see people that, you know, you talk to them every day, like, you know, because we go as a team with GoWP, for example. So even seeing the folks you talk to every single day and work with every day, seeing that face-to-face interaction is a breath of fresh air. You know, it really is. And I'm in a similar situation to you, Joe, where, you know, I had just moved to the Atlanta area. I don't have any friends or family there. I started working with GoWP, a remote position, so I'm not making friends at the office either. Yeah. So figuring out ways to create relationships in new places is hard, and harder still when you work remotely. And I think something that I've really come to realize over the past few years is that these friendships that are forged in WordPress are real friendships. You know, I will, in the Slack groups that are available through Big Orange Heart, and there's various other ones, but you can find people on there. And, you know, there's been so many times where I'm sitting watching after the girls have gone to bed, and I'm just watching TV and bored, and I'll, you know, hit someone up on the Slack channel and just be like, hey, how was your week? Hope it was good. Like, remembering that these are real friendships. It's not just a 9-to-5 friendship, and they respond, and you send each other Christmas cards and all that sort of thing. So leaning into that has been so important for me during this time as well. And just remembering that these aren't just work relationships, these are real friendships, and WordPress is the people that make WordPress are so great about that. And that's been something that's been really valuable for me over the last, 18 months now it's been, I guess. And before that even, but I've realized it during this time.
Yeah, that's absolutely true and fantastic. I love it. I think about my wife got to witness me at a WordCamp US when it was in Philly. She came into the city, and like we walked in, and it was like every few people I would stop and talk to someone. She's like, "You're really in your element here," and I'm like, yeah, it feels like a family reunion or like a college event. And it's just, I'm really looking forward to that. But the online events early on, we had like me and Chris Lemma and Sean Hesketh and a few other people had like a cigar hangout in lieu of not being able to be with each other to have cigars. So and then the happiness hour and a few other things, just super important. I'm glad that people were able to rally around that. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. This has been such a fantastic conversation. Picha, Emily, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us today.
Thank you,
Thank
Joe.
you so much. Yeah, thank you for having us.
My pleasure. And
thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you want to catch the rest of the WordFest talks and other community interviews, you can catch everything over at wordfest.live.
Here at Green Geeks, WordPress works awesome. We offer a one-click installer with automatic updates, tons of developer tools like WP Staging, WP CLI, and Git, free WordPress migration, and access to award-winning expert support 24/7, 365. Plus, WordPress sites hosted on our platform are lightning fast. Most importantly, Green Geeks is the most eco-friendly WordPress web hosting company on the planet.
To put it simply, plugins power WordPress. But when a plugin fails, so does your site. With fully managed WordPress hosting from Nexus, you get carefully curated plugins that will save you from having to search the plugin database to find the right tools. And you'll never have to worry about managing or updating plugins again. Start building a site that loads ultra fast with instant auto scaling, visual comparisons, plus automatic plugin updates and platform updates. With fully managed WordPress from Nexus, better is built in.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
And thank you very much to our podcast interviewer, Joe Casabona, for these community interviews. And I'm very happy to introduce the next one. It's 24 Case Steps Challenge interview. Next up, we have someone special with us, Megan Rose, who has over the last month swam 24,000 yards to raise funds for Big Orange Heart. She did this as a part of a challenge we've run over the last month called the 24K Steps to Mental Health Challenge, where members of the community pledged to walk or swim, in this case, a certain number of steps to raise funds for mental health. Megan is a web developer at Blackbird Digital, an award-winning digital agency in Willoughby, Ohio. She is involved in her local WordPress community as an organizer and speaker. Let's find out from Megan why she decided to take part in this challenge and what Big Orange Heart means to her. We're glad to welcome Megan over here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I guess I'll get right into it. So the challenge was important to me because mental health is important to me, and I appreciate Big Orange Heart and the space that they take up in the mental health area. And I decided to do swimming because I knew I couldn't do the 24K steps because I have arthritis in my knees, so I didn't want to do all that walking. And I happened to already be training for a swim event that was supposed to happen in Lake Erie here. Unfortunately, it was canceled, but I was already in training for it, so it just made sense. And I was like, well, what is 24,000 of something that I can do? And I was like, well, if I measure in yards, which is what we measure with here, it's not what they measure with anywhere else. But I was like, if I measure in yards, I could do a swim with that number.
Great. I'm a swimmer too. I would probably swim instead of walking as well. Where did you swim? Was it a pool, a lake? What was it?
So my very first swim, since it was in the summer, it made it a little easier. My very first swim I did in a rock quarry. So yeah, just natural body of water. But I didn't do a ton there. I did most of it at the pool that I typically swim at. So it's just a local rec center here. So that was where I was for most of it.
Right. How did you get to know about the challenge at all?
I'm actually on the organizer team for
right.
WordFest
But
Live.
from the very beginning, how did you get to know about this?
When we very first started discussing the idea, because it wasn't something that we had at the last event, so they wanted to do more on the fundraising side to like raise awareness about Big Orange Heart around WordFest as a whole.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering what it was like to organize and participate at the same time.
A little busy, but it's been great. The organizing team is actually really good because Dan is really excellent, and he doesn't want anyone to be under undue stress, which is not something you usually hear when you're a part of an organizing team. Usually it just is stressful and there's no way around it. But he really encourages people to step in and out as they need to make sure that they're mentally healthy, because that's why we're all here in the first place. So I've appreciated that a lot.
Megan, would you like to tell to those who don't know yet what the challenge is about, how anyone can contribute, and what it's all about?
Yeah, so we wanted to first raise awareness for WordFest Live and for mental health in tech and remote work. The donor pages are still live. I don't know if we can show the link for that. But if you go to the site, you can still donate. There's a variety of other challenges that people underwent. There's some walking ones, there's an art one, there's a mindful movement one, and then there's mine, which is the swimming. So you can still donate, and the money just goes to Big Orange Heart, the charity that supports remote workers, and it helps cover some of the expenses of WordFest Live, because we want to make sure we provide a free and accessible event to everyone in the community.
Right. And what I was wondering, what kind of support, for example, I work remotely as well. So, for example, anyone who works remotely and just needs to talk with someone or something, what kind of support can we get at Big Orange Heart?
So Big Orange Heart, I know they have a chat system that you're able to use, but they also have the Slack channel, and I think that's invaluable. A lot of people will post on the Slack channel. They have a how are you channel where you can just at any point in any day, you can just post out of 1 to 10 how you're feeling that day, and you can go into as much detail or as little detail as possible. And a whole bunch of people will reply and be encouraging, and they might give you practical advice if you're looking for advice on something. So it's just a lot of community building and making sure you stay in touch with other people.
Yeah. That's why I think we all love WordPress community and everything that is happening around it. Yeah. Megan, would you mind to remind the definite ways to contact Big Orange Heart or join Slack channels or anything to those who didn't know yet?
Yeah, so you should be able to join from the wordfest.live link. I'm sure we're probably sharing links throughout here too. Or yes, I believe their site is Big Orange Heart. I'm just typing it in to be sure.
Right.
Yeah, bigorangeheart.org. And you can join there. There's big join now button. And you can also read on all the other, like the webinars and the other things that they provide for the members.
Got it. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you would like to share with those who are watching us right now?
No, just thank you. Thank you for being here. And I hope you enjoy all of the sessions and have a great time.
Yeah. From the comments on YouTube, I can see that people are having a good time, and so are we. Thank you very much for finding your time to join us right now and share your experience. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was lovely to see you. And we'll be back, I think, in a couple of minutes, in 10 minutes, with our next session. But before that, we would like to thank our sponsors. Would you like to thank our sponsors, Yusuf?
Yeah, sure. So once again, we thank our sponsors, our global sponsors, Cloudways, Elementor, GoDaddy Pro, GreenJix, Nexus, and Stratic. Our multilingual partner, we also thank them, Wiglot, and our live captioning sponsors, GiveWP and Paid Memberships Pro. Please be sure to visit their tents and chat with them. You might even win some prizes. Don't forget to get your photo snapped in the photo booths brought to us by Content Journey and Stratic. And be sure to check out the swag bag too for details and gifts from our sponsors. Also, thank you to our media partners and micro sponsors. You all make our big orange arts full. Thank you very much.
Yes, and we're welcoming everyone to join the community tent and get back to us in 10 minutes or so to listen to our next session. We'll see you in a few.